Welcome to episode 77, Bias. I won't consider you biased if you're one of those people who like to see it in print when looking to figure out if what they are hearing is true. But we all have biases. This is a diplomatic way of saying we are all biased about something or another. Internal joke. The same way the dictionary definition, indirectness in speech or conduct, could be considered diplomatic. Older folks especially have deeper and more entrenched biases because biases are mostly developed traits that we acquire from the people we interact with throughout our lives, starting with our parents. Bias is somewhat different from prejudice, even if only for the more negative connotation one might have. Internal joke, homework on dictionary definitions. But the two are intrinsically related. Each can lead to the other, and each is derived from a human trait that can be detrimental or productive. Humans seem to have a need to categorize. Bias, however, can be present without something that prejudice has in abundance: selfishness. But I figure that's an area of discussion where there's no need for me to recycle my views, which I've expressed in prior episodes of my blog, so I'll move on. A major thing with biases is that biased people often do not recognize their biases. Bias comes in a form, sometimes, so subtle or so rooted in a belief that holds people's minds even when scrutiny shows it to be false, that the biased person is not cognizant of being biased. Bias thus seemingly can affect a person's thinking and actions without the person even recognizing it. Internal joke, indirectly. Bias of this type, I was going to say, shows a difference from prejudice in that some people readily acknowledge and revel in their prejudice, but then I realize that some people acknowledge and revel in their biases too. And that's so unfortunate, especially these days when the world is so full of biased people. Some of them, such as commentators, politicians, preachers, and justices, hold influential positions, so their biases, whether detrimental or productive, are spread widely. I was about to give you an example from an article I read recently, but then I thought, which article with extensive comments do you read online these days where some of those comments don't show the commentator to be obviously biased? Many comments are totally divorced from what the article is about. This is usually because the commentator's biases make them not see or recognize what the author of the article is truly conveying. Of course, there are some who do it just to provoke, but that's another story. So, no example from me. Anyway, unless it's my own blog, I mostly don't read the comments to online articles anyhow. Internal joke, because you don't want to pay the subscription, right? Because when I read comments based in biasness, it makes me feel concerned about that person's mind and figure there might be many like-minded people, which to me wouldn't bode well for mankind's and the earth's survival. My whole blog thing. So then I become tempted to break a self-imposed rule and fall into the commenting on social commentary comments trap. I came within a whisker of that with that example I didn't tell you about. Internal joke. But really, I have a sister who some years ago used to spend a lot of time commenting on comments to commentary on social media. She eventually gave up from exhaustion. Bias is something you cannot cure in someone who don't even recognize or even consider that they might be biased. Still, to me, it's sad when you read, for example, internal joke intended, the vitriol directed at the author of some articles by people whose biases make them incapable of seeing and acknowledging what the article is about, despite the sometimes very plain title. But yes, Judge was right. Bonds is deserving of being in the Hall of Fame. And not just him. Bias is being applied to him and some others that wasn't applied to many notables already in the Hall of Fame. And the focus on the shenanigans of those notables every year does nothing but diminish the supposed sacrosanct nature of Hall of Fame membership. Of course, this perspective could be just me and Kevin B. Blackstone showing our bias.